Hello, children of God. My name is Chukwemeka with the Igbo Hebrews. This is the Igbo people who have realized that we are the Hebrews of the Bible and we've decided to return to the worship of our God. We no longer practice Christianity, we don't practice Islam, we don't practice Judaism. We practice a religion that we call Hebrewism, which is the religion of the Bible. And brothers and sisters, for those of you who have been following my message, and for those of you who watch my videos and listen to the ministry, you will realize that I made it very clear to my listeners that they should be very careful when they read the New Testament. The New Testament has been heavily adulterated by the Romans and the Greeks. And as the scripture told us in the book of Maccabees, chapter 6, in verse 48, second Maccabees, that is, the scripture told us clearly that these heathens, they are trying to change the book of the law. They will basically want to change the Bible, the scriptures they give us. And what they did is in the New Testament. They also did some alterations in the Old Testament, but it's primarily in the New Testament. That's where they manipulated it. If you see a list of my videos, I've given some instances where I believe that some stories in the New Testament are false. I talked about how they replaced most of the writings in the New Testament with the writings of Paul. Paul is a character that is very shady. And I also talked about the false story of John the Baptist. And today I want to talk about something else, brothers and sisters. Another thing that I have noticed in the New Testament is that it was written as a complete Roman propaganda. I've told you how it is used to introduce pagan worship into the Hebrew system. And another thing is that it was written as a thorough Roman propaganda. What do you mean by propaganda? It was written to make the Romans look like saviors. It's like, let's say, I don't know, CNN talking about the Iraq War, or maybe Fox News talking about the Iraq War. They would try to paint the Americans as bringing so much salvation to the Iraqis, by bombing them and killing millions of them. But that's what they really try to do in the New Testament. You have to understand that. Today, let me show you an example of that. Brothers and sisters, we'll be reading the book of Acts of the Apostle. Acts of the Apostle, chapter 25. And I will go through this Acts of the Apostle and point out to you how this was written. And there's so many other places in the New Testament where this is written, where they wrote it in this way as a propaganda. But let me use Acts of the Apostle chapter 25 because it basically it talks about, like, there are 5 points I can make from that chapter alone where propaganda was subtly put in by the Romans to make themselves look good. Let's read now. Acts of the Apostles chapter 25. We're going to read the whole chapter, but let's just start it now. So, brothers and sisters, in Acts of the Apostles chapter 25 is talking about how the Hebrews wanted to kill Paul, and Paul ran to for the Roman governor for safety, and how they were now deciding who is going to judge him. Paul said he wanted Caesar to judge him, and Festus was asking him if he wants them to send him back to Jerusalem to be judged. Brothers and sisters, I want you to understand the propaganda that has been put here. And I'm showing this. Please just open up Acts of the Apostles chapter 25 and read it so that you follow this information. I don't have time to read all through it now, but let's just follow it. In verse 3 it says, and desired favor. It said, verse 2 and 3, look at what it says. It said, then the high priest and the chief of the Hebrews informed him against Paul and besought him and desired favor against him that he will send Paul to Jerusalem, laying wait in the way to kill him. In this verse here, they make the Hebrews look like murderers. Like the Hebrews were just laying in wait for Paul as he's going to Jerusalem to kill him. Why? Brothers and sisters, is this true? Is this how the Hebrews behave? When they see anybody, they just want to kill the person for no reason? The Hebrews are not murderers. If you don't believe me, let's go to the book of Leviticus. Let me show you that the Hebrews do not just murder someone for nothing. Let's go to Leviticus. If you go to the book of Leviticus in chapter 24, it talks about Shelomit's son. Okay, the book of Leviticus chapter 24, it talks about Shelomit's son. Shelomit is a Hebrew woman, but her husband was an Egyptian. So they have a son. That son was now had a fight with a Hebrew person, and as they were fighting and quarreling and doing everything, he used the name of the God of the Hebrews in vain. He blasphemed the name of the Most High, and it is a commandment against the laws of the Most High that we should not use the name of the Lord in vain. And when Shelomit's son did that, the Hebrews did not just kill him. No, what did they do? They brought him to Moses. Let's read from Leviticus chapter 24 from verse 10. It said, "Now the son of an Hebrew woman whose father was Egyptian went out among the sons of Israel, and the Israelite woman's son and the man of Israel struggled with each other in the camp." Verse 11 it says, "The son of the Israelite woman blasphemed the name and cursed, so they brought him to Moses. Now his mother's name was Shelomith, the daughter of Dibri, of the tribe of Dan." Verse 11 it said, "The son of the Israelite woman blasphemed the name and cursed, so they brought him to Moses. Now his mother's name was Shelomith, the daughter of Dibri, of the tribe of Dan. They put him in custody so that the command of the Lord might be made clear to them." Brothers and sisters, from the story of Shelomit's son, you know that when somebody commits a crime, blasphemes against the Most High in Hebrews, we may first of all consult the Most High on the appropriate punishment. We consult the book of the law on the appropriate punishment that that person deserves. We don't just lie in wait to slaughter somebody on their way to Jerusalem. Now, reading this Acts of the Apostles chapter 35, you see that they try to paint the Hebrews like some murderers, and they try to paint the Romans like good people, and I will show you that here. Okay, if you also go to staying in that Acts of the Apostles chapter 25, go to verse 7. It says, "And when he was come, the Hebrews which came down from Jerusalem stood round about, and laid many and grievous complaints against Paul, which they could not prove." So in verse 7, they are saying that first of all, they said that we are murderers. Now in verse 7, they're saying that the Hebrews were laying false accusation on Paul. In the Hebrew religion, we don't lay false accusation. In fact, it's against the 10 commandments. We don't lay false accusations. But this is what they want us to believe in Acts of the Apostles chapter 25, that the Hebrews were doing against Paul. What are those false accusations, brothers and sisters? Let me show you. What are those false accusations, brothers and sisters, that they say the Hebrews are laying against Paul? If you go to verse 19, you see those accusations. It says, "But had certain questions against him of their own superstition, and of one Yeshaiah which was dead, whom Paul affirmed to be alive." Brothers and sisters, the superstition, the so-called accusation that the Hebrews were supposed to lay against Paul was that he was saying that Yeshaiah was alive when he was dead. First of all, that statement does not carry death punishment. Saying that somebody is alive, somebody that is dead is supposed to be alive, does not carry death penalty by the Hebrews. According to the laws of the Most High given to the Hebrews, it's not a death penalty offense. It's not even an offense. Number two, they didn't say that these were the Pharisees or the Sadducees, because we know that the Pharisees and Sadducees or whatever, they were not Hebrews. They are Babylonians. We know that. But they were using the Hebrews here to make the Hebrews look like irrational murderers, and to make the Romans look like good people. Let me show you that. First of all, if you go to verse 3, if you go to verse 16 of this same chapter, I said, "To whom I answered," this was Festus saying now, right? You understand? It said, Festus was now saying, "To whom I answered, is not the manner of the Romans to deliver any man to die before that which is accused, have the accusers face to face, and have license to answer for himself concerning the crime laid against him." Brothers and sisters, can you believe this nonsense? That is not the manner of the Romans to let anybody to die until the person that accused him come and sort it out face to face. Are you kidding me? Who is stupid enough to believe this? The Romans, people that are known for savagery and slaying, people that are known for death, destruction, people that are so bloodthirsty. If you read the writings of Josephus, which is called the Wars of the Hebrews, in which he said that these Roman people were killing our people so much so that they killed so much people that the soldiers said they are tired, their hands were paining them from killing people. It's the same Romans that have Galleria or arena where they have gladiators, or where they, I'm sorry, not even glad, where they have slaves. They have our ancestors. They put them in an arena with hungry lions, lions that have not been fed for 5 days. They make our ancestors fight lions, fight tigers. These are the people that will now come and tell us in the New Testament that they don't kill anybody unless that person has been properly accused and the accuser comes face to face. Are you kidding? Who is stupid enough to believe this nonsense? This is an example of how you see the New Testament was reading as a propaganda tool to make the Romans look good. If you also look at verse 24 and verse 27 of this thing, you see the same thing, that the Romans does not kill anybody until that person has been properly judged. Verse 27, it said, "For it seems to me unreasonable to send a prisoner and not without to signify the crimes laid against him." Really? This is what the Romans are saying? The Romans that are known for savagery, bloodthirsty people that are not even human beings. These are the people that will come and claim that the Hebrews are the ones that wanted to kill Paul. Brothers and sisters, I want you to understand why I am telling you that the New Testament is a dangerous propaganda. It's not that the New Testament is wrong. In fact, most people are even saying that the New Testament shouldn't even be read at all. And I understand what they're saying, because it's filled with massive propaganda. But I know that the New Testament has been modified. They took bits and pieces of the Hebrews activity and modified it with this kind of propaganda, like you see here in Acts of the Apostles chapter 25. Okay, first of all, look at the accusations. They said Paul was saying that Christ was alive when he was dead. And I mentioned to you that that is not a crime in Hebrew. Saying that somebody is alive when the person is dead is not a crime. The Hebrews will not want him to be killed because of that. Not only that, if you read Acts of the Apostles chapter 2, Peter was preaching that same thing in Jerusalem. Nobody asked for him to be killed. Peter was saying that the Christ that you crucified has been risen, he's alive. Nobody said you should go and kill him. Why are they now coming to kill Paul? That is why anybody that thinks about this thing will not believe this story, because this is a Roman propaganda. They want us to believe that the Romans, who are known through their history is filled with blood, are the rational people. Meanwhile, the Hebrews, who are known to be very mundane people, very kind people in history, we are now the savages. And this is why in the book of 2 Peter it wrote that the way of the truth will be spoken ill of. Because if you read the Bible, instead of Hebrews, they will put Jews. And when you see the actions of the Jewish people today with the moral decadence and the lies they are telling, most people will look at it and say, yes, that's what they have been doing for thousands of years. They will believe this nonsense that has been written in the book of Acts of the Apostle. But they don't know that, first of all, the Jews there in the Bible is not supposed to be the Hebrews, because it's not Jewish people, it is our people. And second of all, this thing was not written by our people, it was written by the Romans as a propaganda tool. I remember when I was young, the Catholic Church was touting what they called Pax Romana. Pax Romana means Roman peace. We were told then in all churches to pray for Pax Romana, that is to pray for 1,000 years of Roman peace. Now, I don't need to be a history student to know the deception in that. Who is praying for Roman peace? Roman peace has nothing to do with us. Roman peace is when they begin to tie you up in an arena and have tigers and lions tear you apart. That is peace for them. Roman peace is when they catch you and your family and feed you to a lion that has not eaten for 10 days. That is Roman peace. And that is what we were all deceived to pray for. Pax Romana. We were deceived to pray for another Roman peace. What our ancestors went through, we were deceived to pray for it to come again. Just like that is what they call Roman peace. This is the situation you're facing. This is the deception that is engraved in the Bible. And this is why some people, when they read the Bible, they don't just believe it. Because no, who will believe that the Romans don't kill anybody unless that person deserves to die? Who is stupid enough to believe that nonsense? So, brothers and sisters, again, do not get me wrong. The New Testament is not invalid. But don't read it until you understand the Old Testament, until you understand the Hebrew method, the religion of the Hebrews, the worship of the Hebrews, what they do, what we stood for in those days. If you don't understand it, don't read the New Testament, because the New Testament was not written by the Hebrews. It was compiled by the heathens, the same people that have been looking to destroy us for thousands of years. And may the Most High of Majesty bless you. I just want to remind everybody that we are still celebrating the Feast of Tabernacles, and that's why I've decided to be doing video once in a while. This is one of the last feasts in the year, and I'll be doing a video sometime later to explain the Feast of Tabernacle in the Igbo culture. May the Most High bless each and every one of you. Selah.